Well. I was 50% wrong. I was like that in the first video. I said something's gonna be real fishy about this. I was like, let me just speculate a little bit. Considering it was Minnesota, it was going to be a toss up between somebody that really liked goats a lot, or it's going to be somebody that attack of the transmissions, is what they would say. And it's door number two, which means that that's where they usually put it, and then their second door hole. Not making light of the situation at all. It's tragic. And my condolences go out to the people who've been harmed and no longer with us anymore. It's really sad. So don't think for one second I'm making light of what happened. I'm just pointing out the obvious, the elephant in the room. We are in an epidemic of mental illness. There's just to let you know, the only reason why we know the identity of this person as quickly as we do now is because of the fact that you guys are not going to believe this. But well, I guess at this point anything's believable. But I'm not mainstream media, so I won't lie to you. At least not on purpose, or I might not necessarily lie to you. But I might make a mistake, but I don't mean to. But the only reason why we know the identity of this person that did this tragedy is because they had a timed dead man switch that would release a video on YouTube that actually the algorithm that video did way better than my content did. Like, I'm trying to save America. I'm trying to get people to understand what's going on. And the algorithms of YouTube just smash this channel on a regular basis. But yet, this person who really loves transmissions puts out a video with firearms, open threats, and everything gets tons of views. I don't understand that. I do understand that. I understand that, but I don't understand that. Well, that forced the police to have to come out with the identity of the person. Because otherwise because I told you earlier that if I'm wrong, I doubt I am. I said there's something really fishy about this person because we don't already. If this was one of our side, this was our side. You guys here, the identity of that person would have been released before it even happened. CNN would have did an accidental 9/11 amount of whoops because CNN did that with 9/11. They were like, no, that was a half hour too soon. What are you doing to report on something that didn't happen yet? Oh. Anyways, that would have been the scenario if this was one of our. It's being the fact that it was released at 9:30 that morning. I'm doing a video at 11. We don't know the identity already. Tell me. You tell me. So, anyways, it does. So I have some images of the manifesto. I don't know that I can play audio because I don't know how much YouTube is going to let me get away with it playing that. We're going to find out here in just a little bit. But let me show you. This is crazy, dude. I can't believe that this guy. I mean, it's. Let me see here if I can kill the audio and do this right here. We'll just let it kind of play in the back. But this is the C6 automatic transmission with a shift kit and also has trans brake. It was it's reading out everything. It's got a lot of strong wording in there. That's why I'm not playing it. But then it goes into brandishing, But the mainstream, the police officers like, yes, this A4LD automatic transmission with torque converter lockup and everything, lawfully purchased this stuff, these things that were used, and but and there's going to be a thing. There'll be a thing. We're going to find out a lot more about this. The mainstream article that I watched, the police officer was like, there's no evidence that there was any outside assistance and all this stuff. Well, every time we see a situation where a 727 torque flight transmission with an overdrive unit on the tail shaft does something like this, there's somehow or another ties to some three-letter organization that said, well, we had this person on our Doppler radar, but we lost contact with them for a amount of moments there, and then there'll be an investigation that'll get botched and headed off, where they'll say, man, it looks like there was pings with these people and that person, and wow, this person was in D.C. and oh my gosh, they were just recently in Ukraine. Oh, really? Huh. Pretty interesting stuff if you think about it. Well, that's all speculation of what I said, but earlier my speculation wasn't far off. This time it wasn't somebody who really enjoyed the company of goats. Look at this, dude. Man's got a nice pink vape. Nice pink vape. I'm just saying, you've got to look at it like this right here. Mental illness, social conditioning through algorithms. Was this person in contact with any kind of like Gretchen Whitmer style stuff to do this? Just saying. It's wild. There's some serious issues right here. And the fact that this is going on, the post that this person's been making for so long has been very cryptic. This would easily have been on the radar of any three-letter organizations. That's their job to head these kind of things off. Yeah, that's some wild stuff right there. This was what was posted on YouTube that got a bunch more views than any of my videos. Me explaining to you how wrong this is and how much I wish that something to be done about this will get 0 views. This right here outdid all my videos put together in the past week before it was taken down. And, I got more of this stuff here. Wait a minute. Check it out. I mean, there is, it just goes on. There was a planned event. There is the Power Glide transmission with the 9-inch torque converter and upgraded fluid pump for high pressure, added pressure for line clutches, line pressure for your clutches. Right here, look at this. This is it right here. And like I said, I missed the target a little bit just because it was Minneapolis. I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be there. But other than I knew that because we didn't know the identity of the person almost immediately, hours went by, pretty much told me we were going to find out that this was the case. And yet this is something the left would advocate for. The left would say, we need more of this. We need doctors to allow children to decide this kind of irreversible thing to be done to them. We need when you say mental health, that means send them to some sort of leftist psychiatrist who then determines that, yes, you are in the wrong body, and the only way to fix this gender dysphoria is to go in there and lobotomize you. Words just can't describe the idiocracy behind any of this. And and you're going to look, I'm probably the only content. Everybody's already done videos on this. I'm probably a little bit behind just because I have to actually work all day. I don't get to just sit around and make YouTube videos all day. Although I'd like to, I have to work in this shop. This is why it's called Ratchet Production Studios, because figure what the hey, I run a Ratchet all day long, and there's production, and this here is my studio. But this is where I'm going to go with this. Whenever they introduced this sauce that Fauci came up with, hear me out, guys. Have you not seemed to notice an increase in vehicle accidents? People's mental health has declined. Now, you could say there's a lot of layers to that, and I'll agree with you. Social media, algorithms, what people are being exposed to now, the media itself, like movies and news and all that, does play a factor in all that. Or it could be a reflection of their own mental decline because of these sauces that were introduced. Because I personally know people who got these things, and something about them, either if they're gone. That's been an unfortunate manner of seeing a lot of my people not here anymore. But some of them that didn't get deleted by the Fauci shot actually don't seem like they used to be. Something is different about them. It's like they flipped a few switches and turned a few things off. Almost like that song I remember, running through the wet grass, falling a step behind both of us. That song by Veteran Ezra where he's talking about something happened to a friend of his and it wasn't mentally the same anymore. Some kind of tragic event took place. And I feel that. I literally feel that. I feel like there's that something has happened to humanity, and you and I'm not blaming that on what happened here, but I'm just kind of pointing out the obvious that people aren't the same. Something's different about these people. And you've got to admit, when you know, and anybody that's done their little bit of research on the Fauci jabs, with that technology that's used to modify and manipulate your DNA sequence, what does that do in the long run? What kind of things would that turn on and off when it comes to hormonal imbalance or balance or brain function, decision making? Because, we often blame bad behavior on genetics whenever somebody's like a really good family that are well off, that care and love for a child, they adopt. And that child grows up to be the biggest criminal dope dealer that's still stolen every weed eater and lawnmower out of your building it could get its hands on, while the family that adopted that child were nothing like that, which means that the genetics were indicative of the person it was behind or in front of, however you want to look at that. And what has happened to people? What kind of problems are coming up because of the fact that they've recoded these people? I know that's a weird direction to take in something like this, but we do notice a large uptick in the acceptance of what is happening when it comes to, hey, go cut off parts of your body and then create a hole and dilate it. That's weird. And then, the fact that the ones that don't do that, they just don't seem the same. Depression is on the rise, mental illness. So it's always been a thing. Like, what will this thing do to people in the long run? That's my spew for the day. Now, we need to figure something out. I don't know, but this is not good. And I thank you guys for watching. And if you have any suggestions or have any comments, I will read those. I will respond. I'll give you a heart. I'll let you know I read it, processed it, use it for the next thought process. Thank you all guys very much for hanging out.